Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Ba-da-ba! Are you familiar with The Simple Life starring Paris and Nicole?
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
So would you know if I went icons?
Always.
That's like a Halloween costume I've told Kyle over and over again I always want us to do. I don't know the last time we were in the same city for Halloween. Welcome to Don't Blame Me. We're an advice podcast. My name's Megan. This is Melissa.
Hi.
And we love to give life-changing, life-altering, amazing, wonderful, shit yourself, barf, die, resurrect.
Jesus.
Easter?
Mm-hmm. You got it.
I'm learning. I can't promise I'll remember. Easter. This podcast is all about Easter advice.
Pastels.
Here's the thing, though. I would love to like go on a deep dive eventually and figure out how we got to like the Kodak hallmarkification of like.
Well, most of it is like paganism. Like, for example, even the image of Santa Claus as we know him today was just created by Coke.
I know that, but like, how do we get to like a bunny dropping off eggs?
Paganism. It's all rooted in paganism.
I don't know much. I don't know anything about paganism.
Well,
that's not what this episode is about, nor what this podcast is about. I did look into for a while, we were joking about how a podcast just called Bible Study where you teach me about the Bible. It already exists though.
Does it?
Yeah, but it's not, no, it doesn't have the same dynamics.
I feel like most podcasts exist on some type of level, and it's just the people that you gravitate towards.
Yeah, it's more of a girl-defined kind of vibe.
Speaking of other podcasts.
Oh my gosh. Our new podcast is out, everybody.
It is.
We have our first episode out, and it is called But Am I Wrong? That's the podcast name, not the episode name. We don't know what the episode name. We just recorded it. And we're really excited about it. I think it was great fun.
It was a blast.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I think if you like this podcast, it's so much more about like topics and opening up those kinds of conversations, but also current events, pop culture. I got to educate Melissa on the tea that is Olivia Munn, John Mulaney.
And I got to educate Megan on an alleged cult.
Like, we live for this shit. So if you want to check it out, available wherever you listen to podcasts. But if you go to Apple Podcasts and you leave a review, I will put out good vibes for you in the universe. If you do that, like you are so funny and hot and pretty and cool
And smart.
so smart. Like you're the full fucking package if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, like maybe you have like one or two of those things. And like it's okay. Not everybody can
Not
be the
everyone.
full-
It can be the full package.
Yeah. Everyone needs like supporting character.
Do you want to be a main character?
Do you want to be the supporting
This is
character
an
in your own
ensemble.
life?
Right. We're doing an ensemble cast right now.
Oh yeah. You can be in the background. Like go
Yeah.
for it. Like
Mhm.
just tree number 2.
Right.
So go check that out. We would love if you left a review. So let's back to this podcast. This is Don't Blame Me. Like I said, we give advice. And if you call in, let me give you the number so you don't just shout it into the abyss. Help me.
Help me.
But if you do hear that in life, you should check it out, but safely.
Mhm.
You know, you don't want to get snatched. The phone number is 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. So you just record on the voice memo app on your phone or however else you can do that and send us an email. So the requirements for all of these things, keep it under 3 minutes. You're going to get cut off, not by us, by Google Voice number. But if it is in an email, you will be cut off by us.
Mhm.
And it's very easy to keep it under 3 minutes. You just have to write it down. Write down everything you're going to say. Practice, time yourself, see how long it is, see if you're missing key information, like if it's about a relationship, how long you've been dating. Make sure you have your ages in there. We really don't give a shit about your zodiac sign unless you have so much extra time at the end that you just throw it on in there. And even then, I'm a true Leo. I care about me and I care about my signs.
Wow. But you know, we're in the top 2 for vaccinated people, right?
Also, but by default, I care about your sign because I am an Aquarius rising.
That's true.
So
True.
I do find that like a lot of my friends, we all fall into the same thing. So I'm like, here's how I care about you. And Mott's, because I think he's an anomaly for having so much Capricorn in his chart. It's a lot. Let us know your pronouns. Anything else that we say? Well, you can watch the video over on Patreon.
I was trying to think.
Okay.
You think I was glitchy?
Yeah. Well, we also have a video on Patreon, and I highly encourage everybody to go watch the video version of this because while I thought I was going to be really cute in my green shirt, Melissa, like I opened the fucking door to her house and I was like, are you going somewhere? Award show.
I was going to text you and say, I'm feeling myself, be warned.
Yeah. Gird your loins.
But I prefer seeing your face in person.
Oh no, I surprise and delight. I like much
Yeah.
prefer to surprise and delight. When I tell you, like you all have to, I mean, first of all, I'm going to make her take pictures after this, but like you have to go watch the video version. Again, like you look like a pop diva,
Thank you.
like a Super Bowl performance.
Great. Thank you.
It gets so
I'm trying
good.
to get to the Super Bowl
Really?
this year just to go to the performance.
Oh,
Because you know they have those tickets where you can be on the field during the performances at
Still?
halftime. I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
watch last year, but I feel like they would still, if long as they probably make sure everybody's vaccinated and spread
Yeah.
out. And it's outside.
yeah. The last time I watched was just when it was the Lady Gaga concert.
Gaga?
We're so happy to announce that the updates are back, everybody.
Woo-woo.
If you have not been caught up and you're just tuning into this episode, I had COVID. And so we did a hiatus on the updates because it just takes a lot.
The synapses weren't firing.
No, yeah, my brain was off and it has come back on unless I shower and then it shuts down again for like a full 10 hours. But we're doing good and we're back with the updates.
They're going to do 2.
Oh my gosh,
Because
2.
we have so many to catch up on.
Wow. You all are in for a fucking treat.
Yeah.
You're welcome in advance. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so my original call, I was calling in about this guy that I met on a dating app like 4 months ago now. But basically, I was calling in because I was having issues with him. I didn't know if it was communication or if it was just like a lack of effort. And I kind of just explained like how we met and the type of things that he would do that would make me, you know, feel like I'm putting in all the effort and he's not putting in at all. So the mom, after, you know, I talked with her because I was kind of close with his parents at this point. He has 2 moms. So we were talking and she was like, oh yeah, he has autism. And I was like, oh, like, I didn't know that. This would have changed, like, not the way that I feel about him at all, but this would have been helpful to know, I guess, whenever I was questioning, like, why is he so bad at communication? Or like, why does he not get these social cues, I guess? And like, there was a point in the relationship, kind of like you said before, where, you know, I was still in like the rose-colored glasses phase and he was like already past that, like already like, oh, we've been together like a year. I can show you exactly who I am. I can just like not care. So after I called in the first time and you guys like gave me advice, shortly after that, we ended up breaking up because I found out that he cheated on me with, this is going to sound so weird. So basically he lives with, they call it his brother, but it's not his brother. He's not related at all. They're not related in any way. So it's technically not incest, I guess, but they live together. And so whenever I would go stay the night, I was basically calling him his brother because that's what it was. But yeah, they like did stuff, I guess. Like, I don't know if it was whenever I was there because I stayed there a lot. But yeah, I found that out through his previous ex who had like receipts and stuff, which was like so weird. He like DM'd me on Instagram and like told me everything. And I was like, I had been nice because we had broken up because I knew that he wasn't going to be able to like change the way that he was being because obviously he didn't care. And so after that, I was just going to leave it like civil. I told him like, oh, maybe we should just like not be together anymore. And I'm not the type that could handle just being friends. Like I couldn't go back to that. So I was like, you know, I probably won't ever talk to you again, but just know like I have no hard feelings. But then that happened and I was like, okay, listen to you, bitch. Like I went off on him after that. And basically he had nothing to say to that. I was just like, do you have nothing to say for what, like all the shit you put me through? Like I put in so much and you gave like 0. But yeah, we haven't talked since September 24th. So I don't know what he's doing now, but I don't really care. I expected to be like way more upset than I actually was, I guess, because I realized I wasn't missing out on anything. I'm not really that upset that we're not together anymore, honestly. I don't know. My friends were all just like, you need to get away from him.
No, I mean, I think sometimes it's great though when you like, you're putting in all of this effort and like you do all of this kind of stuff that like you finally realize like, oh, I don't necessarily like you so much and that's why I'm putting in all this effort. It's because you're putting in none. So like I have to make up for your part and then you stop doing it and you're like, oh, I don't like you that much. I was just going through the motions because like one of us had to if we were going to be dating. And it's like, oh shit, like I don't actually care that much. I guess it is relatively common though to be like, oh, this person's like my brother. And it's like, but you like, I call Leo my brother and like he's like dated girls before who have been like, what? And then he dated girls who are like, no, I totally get it. Like you guys are like brother and sister, but like, I just like, ew, you can't do that.
Like if his mom see him as a son, then that's just weird.
Yeah. And like even my ex was related to one of the moms, but he wasn't related to the other one at all. But they were like married. So then one mom had my ex and then the other mom had the brother.
Oh, so they are brothers.
They're stepbrothers.
Well, the moms are married, so I guess they are stepbrothers, yeah. But they're not.
But they were brought up as brothers.
Does that not make them stepbrothers?
Well, because it's 2 women and they both carry each child. So like technically yes, but they're brothers.
But what's the difference between stepbrothers?
Well, I mean, stepbrothers is more in this situation. Were the moms married when they had both of them?
To my understanding, there's like a lot of members to this family. And It was very confusing. But from what I understand, the 2 moms have been married for like 15 years. And the brother that he ended up doing stuff with came into the picture like 4 years into their marriage. So like for about 11 years, they've been raised as brothers.
Yeah. Like,
so
it's kind of really...
Stepbrothers to me does not make it less bad.
No, it doesn't make it less bad. But
so
what I was saying is like if 2 women, because both can't contribute DNA, so then they usually don't differentiate if they're step or not.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I thought you were talking about half brothers, and I was like,
no.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, no. But so like, I think it's obviously grosser if you've like been raised together at any point, but like regardless, it's like worse than being like, hey, this is like your sister's boyfriend. And then you're like, a boy for me to fuck? And it's like, no. This is like, it's the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things like, that's when you meet someone. And like, when I meet you, I'm like, you are not a sexual being. You have no genitalia. Like, that is like not anything that I think of.
I am flabbergasted.
Holy shit.
I don't even know like when I would say it shifted, but like, I remember whenever I first met him, like we were in the phase, like we were at his house, right? And he lives like kind of in the woods, kind of like me. And he has like all these flowers. He literally went in his yard for like an hour and picked flowers and made a crown for me. But then like weeks later, it's like, oh, I can't even get a text from you for 3 days. So I'm like, I don't know when he decided, oh, I don't actually need to put in any effort because you're going to do it all regardless. Because he knew that I wasn't going to get mad like I should have. So he just did whatever. And like his parents honestly kind of tried to tell me, but like I didn't want to listen to them. So they were like, we feel like he's taking advantage of you. And like, he definitely was. But I almost actually moved in with him. So I'm so glad I did not do that, because I ended up coming out to my family and also to Instagram. And so I was trying to get out of my house. And so I was like, oh, like, we're both trying to move out. Like, let's just get a place together. But I'm so glad that did not work out, because imagine if I like signed a lease and then that happened and I'm like,
Yeah.
can't get out of that.
He was going to bars like that you couldn't go to. Was he going with this brother?
No, well, his brother was actually younger than me. His brother was 19. And so he's 22. His brother was 19. I'm 20. So his brother used to go to the bars with him. But then one year they like changed the rule to where like only people 21 and over can go. So his brother didn't go with him. He was just going alone and meeting like random people. But there are so many other bars that he could have went to, like in that area. Like, isn't an example is like Chili's. Like, I guess it's not the kind of vibe that he wants. I don't know, but you can still go there. I can get food and he can get like whatever he wants. Like, I was willing to compromise, and I didn't have to do it every single time. Like, he didn't even do that with me once. Like, he wouldn't do it once.
I would go to Chili's over a bar any fucking day.
Yeah.
Any fucking day.
Even at Chili's, they have this drink that's off the menu called the Blue Motherfucker, and it's delicious.
Yeah, like, fuck yes, Chili's. Do you think their moms know or have any inclining?
Well, this is actually kind of weird. So I don't know if they know that he cheated on me, but I do know that the mom told me this story, which I was like, why are you letting this kid live at your house? But basically, one of the kids, not the one that I was in a relationship with, but the brother had this obsession with like one of the moms, and like would like rub her neck and stuff, and would like go in their bedroom and like try to like give her massages and stuff. And so eventually they had to like make him, they said that he couldn't come in their bedroom anymore because it was like that weird. I was like, why are you letting him stay at your house? Like, he's 19, make him get his own place. But I guess it's because they knew, because neither of them could keep jobs. So if I was going to move in with my ex, I would have been the breadwinner because I have a stable job. I just got promoted. So I would be making the amount of money that we would need to like pay rent. But he works at like a restaurant and never shows up on time. And like, so I don't think they knew, but I feel like at first he thought it was because he doesn't know that I knew he had autism. So I don't know if he still doesn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he knows, which is like a weird thing to say, but like, he never mentioned it to me and never even acted like he had anything. So I was like, maybe he doesn't know. But then again, he's 22. Like, would his parents not tell him? And also, was he not at the doctor when they diagnosed him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have autism. I have ADHD, which is not the same thing. But I know like how it is, kind of, because I have friends that have it, and I know that they were not the best at like communicating all the time. And I don't mean this in the way it sounds, like social cues. Like, I don't understand some of them either, because I know people on this podcast have said it before, and I came off kind of like, oh, they don't get social cues. Like, that's not what I mean. But I don't know what it's like to have autism, but I do know what it's like to have like neurodivergent.
I agree with you in the same sense that I'm like, I mean, I constantly wonder if I'm autistic. Because I see all these TikToks about it, and I'm like, do I have ADHD, and am I like have like massive sensory issues, and then I'm also like socially anxious, or like where does this, like, whatever. That is sad. I hope he does know, because I think like if I didn't know I had ADHD, obviously like there's not that much I can do, but like I can't imagine how hard that would be just to like have no idea why you're doing the things that you do, and like that whole comparison thing. I'll be level with you. I think this whole family sounds a little fucked.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Let me tell you. Like, I don't even remember all the stories because ADHD, short-term memory loss. Yeah. But it's awful. But this whole family just gave me this like weird vibe. Like, me and my ex, every time we would hang out, I would go to his house. This is gonna sound so weird, but like apparently his ex was like really good friends with the parents still. So his ex would come over like whenever I was there, and like that to me was already kind of weird. Whenever I brought it up to them, they were like, "Why are you making this weirder than it is?" And I'm like, it kind of is weird if I'm over there and he's already not giving me attention, and then his ex comes over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a different ex than the one who told you that he was hooking up with his brother?
It's the same one. So I was like, well, maybe I can trust them because they are the one who told me all that stuff.
Oh my God.
Wow.
How small is the town you live in?
Very small.
I feel like I can tell.
I live in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. But like, there's a really big town that you may have heard of, like Charlotte, North Carolina. And then there's another town inside of that. And then I live in one that's even smaller than that. So it's like 5,000 people. I don't even know if that.
As someone who grew up in a town with 5,000 people, I was like, this is giving me small town energy.
It's so like everybody knows everybody. And it's so weird.
That's insane. This is so not where I thought this update was going to go.
Me either. But I'm glad you're out of this relationship.
Me fucking too. And I'm glad that like you're not missing it. You're over it and like you're solid. And congrats on the promotion. Like get that bread.
Thank you.
Blast Casey Musgrave's breadwinner, and then don't be the breadwinner for anyone.
Right.
No, just for myself. No.
Yeah, literally. Treat yourself. But wow, fuck, that's wild.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be on this podcast. I was very shocked whenever I heard myself on the thing. I was like, what the heck is this? But yeah.
We love to hear it. Well, cool. Thank you so much for giving us the update too. I think everybody's going to be pretty shocked to hear all of it.
Okay, well, thank you all so much.
Have a good one. Bye. You're so sweet.
He was. All right.
So my original call, I had called because I was having issues with myself kind of transitioning from an extrovert into an introvert. And I had called to see if Megan and Melissa could possibly give me some tough love. So I used to want to go out all the time and do different things. Now that we're in a pandemic, I don't want to go out anymore. And the issue that kind of stirs from that is my boyfriend does. So now that we're vaccinated and things in Canada have opened up quite a bit, he wants to go out. He wants to have bonfires with friends. He wants to golf. And it's part me not wanting to do those things and also anxiety from going out that we've been home for almost, 2 years now. And then how it kind of stemmed into our relationship was that I found myself being more resentful. So I used to say like, I stay home and I cook and I clean the house and I take care of the dogs. And, like you come home and everything's clean and the dogs are walked and fed. And I just like basically was in a sense what I thought was feeling sorry for myself that he gets to go out and do all these fun things. But in reality, I didn't want to. So I had called Megan and Melissa to see if I could get some advice. So after listening to the call with Megan and Melissa, I basically realized that I'm kind of like Megan in the way where I'm an extrovert, but I'm definitely a homebody. So even though I like to go out and I obviously like to talk a lot, I don't like to go out and see people. Like I don't care to see people. I'd rather like just be on Instagram or watch YouTube. And so Melissa gave me a really good tip. And she basically said was like, stop doing housework when you're home because like his going out time is your like you time. So it's like, he wouldn't go out and be like doing like, I don't know, whatever he needs to do for the house. So I shouldn't be sitting at home and like cooking and cleaning. I should be like doing things for me. So I actually had a sit down conversation with him and he was so funny. He's like, see, I was like, I call into this podcast and I got this advice. And he was like, see, he's like, I told you when you're at home, stop doing things. Like I will do things with you. Like you need to stop. And I feel like I honestly just needed to hear it from somebody else. And another thing is I told him, I was like, you know what? I think what would help is if I ever decided to go out, I'm going to have to ask you, like, can you stay home? Can you watch the dogs? Or like, can you like stay home and do whatever that I would normally do? And after like some compromise, he was like, yeah, like just tell me when and where. So I felt like our communication wasn't in the spot that it needed to be clearly because I was getting resentful. So, and I told him, I was like, I'm always concerned about everything. Like I'm literally concerned. I'm such like an organizer and a planner. And he was like, yeah, but you can't take that and not do anything for yourself. So things I've done is I left Megan and Melissa a very nice drunk update call. I was like sitting on the couch. He was like out with the boys the boys as in his one friend. And they were golfing. And I was like, you know what? I am going to sit here. I'm going to force myself to sit here. I watched like 3 Netflix movies. I had a whole bottle of wine to myself and it felt amazing. Also, he went out with 2 of his friends. They went to like an outdoor hockey game in our community. And I texted the girlfriends and I was like, chances are we're all feeling the same way because they're all extroverts. And they were like, you know what? We are. They're like, I feel the exact same way. And they're like, why don't we like go have a bonfire at like somebody's house? So we ended up doing that. And honestly, things have been so much better. And I just feel like I needed a kick in the ass, to be honest, to be like, do stuff for yourself. In a way, I'm like, you're feeling sorry for yourself when really it just comes down to me having to communicate better and accepting that like, I don't want to go out all the time and that's okay. But, to communicate with my partner so it doesn't get to the point of resentment.
Hell yes. This makes me so happy. I thought about this call after it happened because I have definitely gotten into like Mott's will go golfing or whatever. And like, I literally don't care. But like, if I'm like, I'm going to do laundry and I'm going to get ahead of all of this stuff, even if I like, I'm not doing it and I'm like not mad in the moment, he'll come home And I'll be resentful because he'll fall asleep on the couch. And I'm like, well, I've been like at home doing all of this stuff. And now you finally come home, we can hang out and you fall asleep. And it's like, I tired myself out and did stuff I didn't want to do while he was doing something he wanted to do. And it was like, oh, I wasn't actually doing something I wanted to do. And like, especially like, you know, as like women at homes and stuff, it's like we can kind of get into the habit of like, let me go like anticipate things and like not really like knowing how to like relax or like chill in that kind of way, especially solo. So I love that. And I also love like talking to the other girlfriends and being like, okay, they'll go do this and like we can have our own thing. Like that's so fun.
I say it to him all the time. He'll get home from wherever and I'll be like, did you see how clean the floors are? Or I'd be like, look at the fridge. Doesn't it sparkle? And it's like, I don't realize how passive aggressive I'm being until he's like, I get it. And I'm like, yeah, but did you see? Like, that is me. And he would get and then we'd end up arguing. And he's like, go do something. And I'd be like, well, I don't want to. So it was just like the balance of just being like, I need to find something that works. And I know like your other advice was like, you know, like you can go out together and then like have your quality time. And then like you go home and have your own quality time. But clearly his quality time with himself is like seeing somebody or like golfing or having a bonfire when it's just like not me. Because I think that's another thing I had to realize is that like, everyone's handling this pandemic differently. Pre-pandemic to like current pandemic, and everyone is like different people. And some people like are like, I'm itching just to like see somebody from a distance and golf or have a bonfire. Then there's people like me that's like, I don't care to see anybody ever. So I feel like that was like a wake up call too. And I'm sure I'm not alone. Like I'm sure there's like lots of people in relationships or partners or even like friends or family that are like, I just like, I love you, but I don't want to see you. And I feel like that's where I was at. And I just had to like come to terms with like, everyone is dealing with this differently. And like, obviously him coming home and me being like, look at the fridge. Like it doesn't get any of us anywhere.
Right. I'm so glad that you came to that realization.
Yeah. And I feel like I just needed to hear it from somebody else. Like I needed to hear it from you two in the sense of like, try this and do this to like I don't want to say come to my senses, but like come to reality that everyone's different, because I was hearing it from like myself. Like I would tell myself that, but I wouldn't believe myself. And obviously I'm not going to believe my partner. So I like, and it's like, I talk to my girlfriends and I'm like, they feel the same, but you don't feel the same. So now that you were like, try this or do this, like, I appreciate you both so much because, you know, I just feel like there's so much stress around this pandemic that like everyone I'm sure can take from this, that like, just to breathe and be like, it's going to be a roller coaster for who knows how much longer. So
no, I so relate to this. This is literally me. Like you are legitimately me, and like your boyfriend is Mott's. Like same exact thing. And like when I finally stopped, like if I wanted to clean while he was like doing something fun, like I would do it. But like I realized the same thing, that I would be like, look what I did. And I realized I'm like, oh, he doesn't care. It's not like, not in a bad way, but I'm like, I didn't do this because I wanted to. Like I did this to kind of like, he would have been happier if like the place was like completely trashed and I was like, oh, I had so much fun and I did like X, Y, and Z. And then finally I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Like it feels like, I think also as women, again, it feels like we have to kind of get ahead of things and like do all of that kind of stuff, that like when someone else is having fun, it's hard for us to feel like we can also like go have fun and we don't have to be like assume responsibility and all of that. Like it's, but you are me. Like I understand like completely, like to a T. That is literally me.
I appreciate it. And yeah, it's like, I know it's like the horoscope thing is so hit or miss, but like I'm such a, like clearly not right now, but I'm clearly such an organized freak. Like I'm like, you know what? I could really use some organizers and like go under the bathroom counter, or like I really could sort through my makeup for the 6th time. And then I'm like, I'm exhausted. And I'm like, well, no kidding, you're exhausted. Like you just don't sit down. So when I called you guys with the update, I was sitting, had a bottle of wine. I was like a new woman. Like I just like feel like I came to like this epiphany, and I was like, this is the life. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Hell yes. I think a lot of Virgos have had to learn how to relax in the pandemic.
Yes.
One of my friends is like that. I was like, there's only so many times you can reorganize your like bathroom cabinets.
Agreed. Exactly.
Very realistic. Well, thank you for this update. This like made my day. This
too.
is like such a happy one. And I think lots of people are going to relate, and being able to see like how you were able to make those adjustments and like feel so good. It's so great.
And flourish.
Well, I hope so, because I know it wasn't a very exciting scandalous call, but he's like a good mental health wake up. So I appreciate you ladies.
Of course. We appreciate you. Thank you for calling in.
You'll get my first live sparkly diamond.
Woo!
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. And I also want to say before I go, I'm so proud of you ladies for doing your new podcast. I'm going to plug you here because I am like so excited.
Thank you. We recorded the first episode this morning. So,
oh my God, hell yeah.
We really liked it. So I think everybody will.
We're going to love it.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for all this. And we hope you have like a wonderful, fantastic, lovely day.
You too. Bye, ladies.
Bye. We are back from the updates. Loved those.
So good. There were good ones to come back on.
I was just going to say that. Like, it felt like we had a scandalous, more tea, more drama one that was like, I'm out of the situation, but like, here's some more.
Mm-hmm.
And then one that was like, everything worked out. You're right. And like, things are great. It's like such a good combo. It's what we love. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will get into the calls.
Yeah.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
We are back from our break and we're going to get into the calls.
Good morning, good afternoon, Megan and Melissa. I'm a 24-year-old Libra and I'm basically in love or in lust with my best girlfriend, who is a 24-year-old Sagittarius. So story time. About 5 years ago, I met him as he was hired underneath me at a big family-owned company that I work for. And I was originally his supervisor, and we became really close almost immediately and started hanging out loads, and we really hit it off. In 2019, I was promoted to a manager position, and he took over my original position. And we were hanging out and got even closer, so close that even the employees started making rumors and saying that we were more than friends, and it got so bad that even the owners of the company brought it to my attention. Anytime someone would bring it up, I would just say, no, we're just friends, and there was nothing that was happening between us, and nothing would ever happen between us. Almost immediately, though, when I did meet him, I did notice there was a tension between us, and it was brought up to me by loads of people. In the summer of 2019, he and his long-term girlfriend of 7 years decided to take a break because they were getting loads of fights about how much he was working and a lot of fights about me. Well, during the break, he and I were hanging out still and going to dinner a lot and kind of doing couple-y things like we shouldn't have. And one thing led to another, and we hooked up. And continued to hook up until December of 2020. The reason I called it off is because, one, I had really bad commitment issues, and he told me that he was falling for me, and he was in love with me. And two, in August of 2019, he got back with his girlfriend. So the timeline is, they got in a fight in the summer. Him and I started hooking up in June. They got back together in August. And yeah, So, I do feel really bad for the girlfriend. I'm not sure if she knows. I'm sure she's suspicious. But I do feel like I'm in a weird place where I still really love him. And I can see myself having a future with him. Is it horrible of me to tell him how I feel? Or should I just keep it to myself? If I told him, it wouldn't be a pick-me, choose-me situation. It would be more of a, here's this information, do with it what you want. I don't know. Any advice would be gratefully appreciated. Thanks, love you, boy.
All right. So he told you he had feelings for you, and he was falling in love with you, and then you didn't say anything. And now that he's back,
he was with his girlfriend when he did that anyway.
I thought they were on a break.
They were only on a break between June and August. And then she ended it in December 2020 because she's afraid of commitment. And he was telling her. So like, she is the victim, not you. The girlfriend is the victim in this situation.
But the girlfriend was suspicious that something was going on.
Yeah, she knew.
Yeah.
She knew. So here's the thing. I would hope it's like you ended it December 2020. And like, I don't mean for this to be like shady, but you're a Libra. You can take it. You can't actually take it, but like eventually it will sink in and then it will happen. First of all, like you saying like, I feel bad for this girl. No, you fucking don't. Like you don't feel bad for her. Like you're throwing that in there. If you felt bad for her, it's like, I feel horrible. I feel so guilty. I feel like I need to tell her or someone needs to tell her. Not, I need to tell him that I still have feelings for him. Like, no, you made a really fucked up choice and you continued to make that choice for months and months and months and months on end. And this time that you should have spent between December 2020 and now should have been like, wow, I can't believe I fucking did this to somebody. Like, that's horrible. I hate that I did that. I am no longer friends with him. I'm not associating with him. I'm not seeing him. I'm completely cutting every form of communication off. I'm blocking him on everything. Whether or not you just like decide to tell the girl or not, I'm going to do everything in my power to work on myself. So like, I don't do that, anything like that ever again, because that was a horrible thing to do. But instead, you like spent from December 2020 till now, still hanging out with him, still being friends with him, still basically being like, it's basically like we're dating still. Like, and then now being like, should I tell him that I have feelings for him? No.
You don't respect him or his relationship. And he also doesn't respect you or his relationship, because if he wanted to be with you, then he would just be with you and not be with the other person. He would have broken it off with her permanently. But now he's just playing this game of going between the two of you and doing this what if type situation and scenario. And then like, is this somebody that you want to be in a relationship with that doesn't value the relationship that he's in now?
And also like, you made the choice, but like, he set up a situation in which like, hey, would you like to participate in fucking someone over? He set that situation up for you. You took the opportunity. You didn't have to, but you did.
Also, you're his supervisor too.
It's incredibly inappropriate.
It's
like
so
from the start.
And you told the people that you work with that nothing was going on with the two of you.
Whatever. This is going to come across as me. And I know people are like, well, when callers call in and you're not, I'm going to be really cunty, fair warning. But like, I can like hear the smug smile in your voice when you're like, and they would like fight all the time, like about me. Cause like, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is one of those things that I'm like, you're not being a good person. And I think that you know that. And in order to live with yourself for that, you've kind of committed to this character. Like you've kind of like committed to doing this. And like, as opposed to having any of this time to like learn and assess any of this stuff, like you've kind of just become the villain and like assumed that position. And you don't feel bad for this girl. Don't say that shit if you don't actually mean it.
I think you feel guilty, but you don't feel bad.
That's the thing. I'm like, I think you feel guilty. And there's the part of you that is like, you're making mistakes. But instead of just like listening and having that uncomfortable conversation with yourself and like looking yourself in the mirror, being like, how the fuck could you have done this? Like, let's pick up the fucking pieces. You would rather double down. And I think this happens to a lot of people that like you made a massive, grave mistake. And in order to make yourself feel better about it, you're like, we should probably end up together. I need to make it so this was worth it and make it like this, as opposed to being like, no, I made a mistake. Nothing good came out of it. I learned a lesson and I hurt someone really badly along the way, and that's on me. And that's what you need to deal with instead of trying to like salvage this quote unquote relationship with a guy who doesn't respect a relationship, whose relationship you didn't respect, and try and make that work, quote unquote work, to make what you did and the atrocities you committed worth it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. And like, don't do that.
Don't do that. Also, legally, you are in a bind if he ever gets fired or let go of the job for any reason, because he can file a sexual harassment suit against you.
Yep. I would say look for a new job, move on from there, cut things off with him completely, and either tell the girl she should know, or if you don't feel comfortable telling her, have a friend tell her.
Yeah, this isn't good.
No. If this was our other podcast, you are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You are so wrong.
All right.
Well, on that note.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. So I am 22 years old, and basically I'm in a weird situation. I just got back from a tour with a musician friend of mine. He and I met about 2 years ago and have been keeping in contact and building a friendship, which has been really great. And he's 31. So basically we've just been friends for the last 2 years. And now after going on tour with him, I'm starting to realize that I really like him. And I definitely have the potential for falling for him. I've never dated someone older than me. Everyone I've dated has been in my age group and just kind of in the college scene. But I hate that anyway. And I haven't found good college guys. So I am just a little bit like confused about it because it doesn't freak me out. Like it doesn't weird me out that he's older than me, but I just want a second opinion on it because like I said, I've never dated anyone older than me. So for some more information, he and I are both in the same industry. He's a musician and I work in the music industry in the visual aspect. So there isn't like a weird, I don't really feel like there's a power dynamic, and we both work in the same field. So we have a lot in common. If we didn't have a lot in common, I would not be into it. So let me know what you think. And thank you so much. Y'all are amazing. Bye.
We are very much against big age gaps.
Yeah. Also, like I just whispered to Melissa while the call was running. I was like, age cap, and he's a musician. I was like, she's dating a 55-year-old magician or like a comic. Like you can't get more cliche, like perfect storm calling into this podcast. So I don't know if you're a new listener. People hate when we always have calls where we're just like being quote unquote negative, like back to back. But
you say that his age isn't a problem, but the reason you're calling is because of his age.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a problem. You know, it's a problem.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, red flag, you've been friends for 2 years when he was 29 and you were 20.
Yeah. Like when you were on tour, was this a work tour or you were just like going as a roadie with him?
Yeah. Were you like the +1 or were you employed? Like, were you both working like stage crew stuff for it? But he's a musician. Like,
I think it was his tour.
It was his tour. Was he in the band? Like, I wonder if he has say over who is hired or if like he's a part of a band who was hired by a musician for accompaniment or something like that. But like,
we don't even know if he's even interested in her.
I mean, he is. I think that like befriending, depending on the kind of friendship that you have with someone who is 20 years old when you are 29.
But I think a work friendship is different. Like if he just sees her like as somebody that works with him, I think a work friendship is different than like a regular friendship.
See, I think so too, but doesn't sound like she has any question if he's interested.
But she might be delusional.
No, it's men. It's men.
I don't know.
I just think that like a friendship between two people in the same industry at 20 and 29, no, that should be a mentorship. And that is something that is like, oh, your dad's friend who is helping you like understand, like there is such a huge difference that like that shouldn't be clouded in like a we're buddy friendship kind of way, especially in an industry that can be incredibly like seedy like that. Like it is just not okay. And the age gaps that are really, 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 really past the point when like it's obviously legal, but the ones that have like the biggest age jump is your 20s. 29.
Yeah. Like a person in their 20s is not like friends. That's why I'm like,
you're not friends.
Do you guys hang out outside of this tour? Like, I know that you've been friends for 2 years, but like, do you hang out outside of doing work things? Like, because friendships can be defined in different ways.
I just don't have a lot of faith in 29-year-old musicians who hang out with 20-year-olds.
But is it like they're hanging out like as far as like,
coworkers?
Yeah, like
versus,
coworkers versus like outside of work stuff.
And she's using the term friend.
Yes.
I mean, that's a good point. Like, yeah, this is just like not appropriate at all. And regardless, like, it's not it. And like, I hope and prefer that Melissa's correct. And it's like not I don't want to say one-sided friendship, but it feels more like friendship and crush on your end. And for him, it's a little bit more like acquaintance, coworker mentorship.
Because I'm just thinking like a 20-year-old might be a little naive to the situation and reading the situation wrong.
Yeah. And I truly, 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 truly hope that is like what this is. But if there's any sort of like flirtation going on from his end and like you are hanging out a lot and like specifically like if you hung out before you turned 21 and like he brought you alcohol or he was hanging out with you while you were drinking, that is like one of the biggest red flags. When you are someone who is over 21, hanging out with someone who is under 21, regardless if you buy them the alcohol, you know that they're intoxicated or they're drinking where you are. As someone who is over 21, my instinct is I'm getting out of here. Mm-hmm. This is a legal problem, which responsibility would fall on me. This is not safe and not okay. And I will call one of your friends who is your age to come get you, take you home. Also, you saying that you wouldn't be interested in him at all if you weren't in the same field, that to me, I'm like, what? Like, why?
That's why I think it's like she might be reading more into the situation.
But this to me, I'm like, this sounds like potentially a mentorship that happened. And like, you've been on the road and you have like camp goggles on. But like, being in the same industry is not, that doesn't bridge age gaps at all. And it also is not like a relationship makes, like by any means. And if that's like the thing that is like holding this together, like this is just not it.
Yeah.
This really is, there's two options. Mm-hmm. Either he's creepy or it's a misreading of the situation. I don't like to give men the benefit of the doubt, but in this case, I would prefer to.
Yeah. It's just like she never said, like, he seems like he's flirting with me. He seems like he's into me. No, she never. You must be new here. All right. Time for Don't Blame Them.
We're going to hop into Don't Blame Them. This is where a listener will call in with their own advice pertaining to a call from a previous episode. Regardless of what it is, I'm just going to be like really positive and great and fun and like encouraging because
it's a good one.
Everybody hates when we have two back-to-back like this. But like, you know what? It's a no bones day.
We had two very positive callbacks.
Yeah.
They're updates.
I'm anticipating the complaint.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
Okay.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm calling in for a Don't Blame Them for Season 8, Episode 21, in reference to the lovely caller that wanted to know how to explain her skin picking dilemma to her potential partner. I too deal with skin picking, absent-minded scratching. Mine started at a very young age, probably around the age of 8, through dealing with environmental stress. I was born with eczema, and I've been dealing with that my entire life. And paired with the
skin picking and scratching that comes from stress and how anxious I may feel in a particular situation. I'm currently partnered with both my therapist and my local dermatologist to help combat this issue, if not work on it and get a better handle on it. Of course, my therapist is here for the tools that I may need to help work myself through my stressful situations, be it socially or mentally. But I realize a lot of people don't really anticipate on working with is a dermatologist. Some will prescribe a topical cream, which is what I currently am working with. My stress typically comes through the holidays since I work in retail, but throughout the rest of the year, my skin is typically fine unless I'm in a very weird social situation. I highly recommend looking into adding a dermatologist to your regimen as you work with your therapist to see if that could help with the healing of scars. As for explaining it to your potential partner, tell them, hey, here's a heads up. If I'm doing, X, Y, and Z, this is because, and the best way to help me is through this particular action. So for me and my husband, if he notices that I am scratching absentmindedly during a episode, he will grab my hand and give me a light squeeze and a reassuring smile to let me know that things are okay and that he's open to talk about it later if I need to. So I hope this helps.
Incorporating a dermatologist into it can be really great. That has been helpful for me, but it's something that you got to work. It doesn't clear any of that. That's part of the reason why I went on Accutane. That's like, if I have less acne to pick, in turn, I will hopefully pick my face less. That is true. Do I still pick my legs? Yes. And so that is one of those things that, like, any sort of pre-existing issues that can cause flare-ups and like picking sessions that they aren't triggered by anything. They're triggered by feeling the bumps and feeling stuff. So, like, the less you have that, in theory, the less that you will pick those things. But it's also important to note that, like, it can feel like sometimes, at least how I did when my dermatologist was very much, it was before I talked to my therapist about it. She was very much like, we'll clear your face up and it'll be great. And I was like, okay. So we cleared my skin up and, like, I'm now using other stuff and, like, it's great. But, like, it can feel kind of like a personal failure that, like, this is like a cure-all and it's not. But she's right. It can be very helpful, especially if you pick things like eczema, psoriasis, or other things that you can cause bacterial infection. And having that, making sure you have a dermatologist who knows, because I've contact dermatitis, eczema, and I have picked so badly, like, a lot of stuff that I've had to, like, get on antibiotics for, like, potential staph infection. And you need antibacterial kind of stuff. So it's helpful to have your dermatologist be a part of that with you, even for, like, maintenance, prevention, and then also treating, hey, if I do this thing, and making sure it's a dermatologist who, like, has no shame, like, is not a shameful thing. So big rec.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that is it for our episode. Oh, we hope you all enjoyed the aggression. But hey, we padded it with those good calls at those updates at the beginning.
They took our recommendations.
Yeah. It's not our fault that you called into the episode. Well, if you wanted to leave us a review on the podcast app, we would appreciate it. Please go. It really helps us. It makes us feel great. And it also prevents Rachel from completely tanking our reviews. If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. All the things I said at the beginning apply. Check out the video version on Patreon. If you want to support our show, support us on Patreon. We really appreciate it. We do live streams. We upload the video version of the podcast. Ranges from $1 to $5. I mean, depending on your currency, but in the United States, it's a really great time. We absolutely love it. And all those people got to, help us pick out, like, the cover art for our new podcast, got to, like, be a part of that and see all that stuff, which is really fun. And you can check out our new podcast as well, called What Am I Wrong? Just search it wherever you listen to podcasts. Download it, save it, subscribe.
We'll put a link in the bio too.
Show notes
too. Mm-hmm.
And our merch is out. Go get some. You can follow me on my socials. Just my name, Megan Rinks.
You can follow me at She Is Not Melissa.
And we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Goodbye. Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions. Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Do you love Disney? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. There is nothing we don't cover.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed, but you definitely need in your life. So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.
Merry Christmas, everybody. My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the co-hosts of the Christmas. Let me try that again. Merry Christmas, everybody. My name is Eric Peterson. I'm here with my good buddy,
Danny Jordan.
And we are the hosts of Christmas Countdown Show.
We're so thrilled to be bringing the merriment to you all this holiday season.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be massively merry, gigantically jolly, fantastically festive, as some people might say, Eric. We are all about alliterations, and we are all about Christmas spirit. On Christmas Countdown, we love to count down our top 10 favorite things related to the holiday season. That could be food, movies, music, everything that we all love about this massively merry good time. So wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you click that subscribe button. Eric, are you ready?
I am ready, and we hope that you are too. Merry Christmas, everybody. Let's go. It should be like, let's go, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeWantz, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
In Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.